Welcome. Today we read Lesson 144 in the workbook and from the text, Chapter 13, Section 11, The Peace of Heaven, paragraphs 1 through 6. And now for Lesson 144. My mind holds only what I think with God. (127) There is no love but God's. (128) The world I see holds nothing that I want. There is only eternal, unchanging love. There are no different types of love with varying degrees, levels, and parts. For love is one, whole and complete, and it does not alter or change in differing circumstance. And love is not a part of a world of separation and fear. What one truly is not different from what love is. And this is why the things of the world hold no value for oneself. The world one sees has nothing that one truly wants. Love does not judge or respond conditionally, and yet the world one sees is a world of judgment and conditions. Everything one values in the world places limits and restrictions on oneself, concealing one's true worth and blocking the awareness of the unlimited love that one is. And now for our text reading for today from Chapter 13, Section 11, The Peace of Heaven, paragraphs 1 through 6. Forgetfulness and sleep and even death become the ego's best advice for dealing with the perceived and harsh intrusion of guilt on peace. Yet no one sees himself in conflict and ravaged by a cruel war unless he believes that both opponents in the war are real. Believing this, he must escape, for such a war would surely end his peace of mind, and so destroy him. Yet if he could but realize the war is between real and unreal powers, he could look upon himself and see his freedom. No one finds himself ravaged and torn in endless battles if he himself perceives them as wholly without meaning. God would not have his Son embattled, and so his Son's imagined enemy is totally unreal. You are but trying to escape a bitter war from which you have escaped. The war is gone, for you have heard the hymn of freedom rising unto heaven. Gladness and joy belong to God for your release, because you made it not. Yet as you made not freedom, so you made not a war that could endanger freedom. Nothing destructive ever was or will be. The war, the guilt, the past are gone as one into the unreality from which they came. When we are all united in heaven, you will value nothing that you value here. For nothing that you value here do you value wholly. And so you do not value it at all. Value is where God placed it, and the value of what God esteems cannot be judged, for it has been established. It is wholly of value. It can merely be appreciated or not. To value it partially is not to know its value. In heaven is everything God values, and nothing else. Heaven is perfectly unambiguous. Everything is clear and bright, and calls forth one response. There is no darkness, and there is no contrast. There is no variation. There is no interruption. There is a sense of peace so deep that no dream in this world has ever brought even a dim imagining of what it is. Nothing in this world can give this peace, For nothing in this world is wholly shared. Perfect perception can merely show you what is capable of being wholly shared. It can also show you the results of sharing, while you still remember the results of not sharing. The Holy Spirit points quietly to the contrast, knowing that you will finally let him judge the difference for you, allowing him to demonstrate which must be true. He has perfect faith in your final judgment, because he knows that he will make it for you. To doubt this would be to doubt that his mission will be fulfilled. How is this possible when his mission is of God? You, whose mind is darkened by doubt and guilt, remember this: God gave the Holy Spirit to you and gave him the mission to remove all doubt and every trace of guilt that his dear Son has laid upon himself. It is impossible that this mission fail. Nothing can prevent what God would have accomplished from accomplishment. Whatever your reactions to the Holy Spirit's voice may be, whatever voice you choose to listen to, whatever strange thoughts may occur to you, God's will is done. You will find the peace in which he has established you, because he does not change his mind. He is invariable as the peace in which you dwell, and of which the Holy Spirit reminds you. You will not remember change and shift in heaven. You have need of contrast only here. Contrast and differences are necessary teaching aids, for by them you learn what to avoid and what to seek. When you have learned this, you will find the answer that makes the need for any differences disappear. Truth comes of its own will unto its own. When you have learned that you belong to truth, it will flow lightly over you without a difference of any kind. For you will need no contrast to help you realize that this is what you want, and only this. Fear not, the Holy Spirit will fail in what your Father has given him to do. The will of God can fail in nothing. In a world of seeming opposites, contrasting differences is helpful in distinguishing between the ego's and spirit's thought systems, teaching oneself what has value and what does not. The doubt and guilt of the ego's world is in stark contrast to spirit's world of certainty and peace. For the ego is a battleground of competing interests, where attack, defense, and the past are required for survival, and where life appears to be at constant risk from a host of enemies. For spirit, wars and battles are unreal and imagined. One's eternal nature makes destruction impossible, and thus attack and defense unnecessary. Spirit removes all guilt and uncertainty and chooses only truth and peace for oneself.